Welcome back, and thank you for joining me for the Season 2 opener of Behind the Mic, hosted by Wize Grazette. I'm your host, Wize Grazette, of course, RPN community manager and podcast enthusiast. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, formerly known as X, at TheRealWize. That's W-I-Z-E. Now, please subscribe to Behind the Mic wherever you listen to your podcast. That's Apple Podcasts, that's Spotify, iHeart, Pandora, YouTube, wherever you listen, we there. On Season 2, we're going to do things a little bit differently than Season 1. Not too much differently, but we are going to try some new things. And I gave y'all a little bit of a disclaimer about that on the trailer. So if you haven't heard that, I would go back there, listen, and then come back over here. But before we get started to this episode, let's dive into some table talk real quick. So I'll be covering a few cultural events this season, festivals, and conferences. One I mentioned on my last episode, the bonus episode with Anna Emmy and Odessa Chambers when we were live at AfriCon. In a few weeks, I'm going to the 7th annual Afros in Audio, which is actually in Baltimore, Maryland. And in November, I'll be attending the GUBA Awards in Barbados, all thanks to today's guest. For the Season 2 opener, I'm joined by an incredible woman who has dedicated her life's work to elevating Ghana and the diaspora. Please join me in welcoming Lady Dentaa Amoateng. Lady Dentaa is the founder and president of GUBA Enterprise. GUBA stands for Grow, Unite, Build Africa. And from my point of view, you can see that intentionality in the work that she does globally. Now, without further ado, let's jump right into the conversation with Lady Dentaa. For people who might be learning about you for the first time, can you share a little bit about yourself before we dive into the interview today?
Sure. So as you mentioned my name, I was born in Ghana, so raised in Ghana till the age of 5. My parents left, I think, when I was a baby, about 1 or 2. And they left to the UK. So at the age of 5, they came to send for me. So I went to the UK, schooled in the UK, did everything. My university, I'm a pediatric nurse by profession, qualified at the age of 21. But before that, I was singing, I was acting, I was on some of the national TV soap operas and was doing that for many years. I actually thought that I was going to be an actress, and I thought I'm going to be definitely acting amongst some big names like Idris and stuff like that. But no, it didn't turn out that way.
Still time.
Okay. I love sport. I love football as well. I used to manage some footballers as well. And also recently worked with the Recording Academy on Grammy Africa. So I've done a lot of things. I love a lot of things.
Yes, you definitely have. Okay. And we will talk a lot about it on the episode. But before we get into everything, let's start with the tunes. So we have this playlist on Spotify called B-Side Track of the Week, where you can find all of our guests' favorite songs anytime. Now, B-Side tracks to me are songs that aren't really as popular, but they're just as good or even better than A-side tracks. So Lady Dentaa, what B-side track would you like to share with us today and why?
I would say it's by an artist called Sarkodie, and it's Adonai. It's a gospel music that I think, should have went bigger than it was. It's got a bit of rap, a lot of soul, but just like very spiritual. So that's one track that I would say. If you haven't already heard it, I would say definitely go on there and listen to it.
Yes, and y'all, as you already know, again, you can find these tracks on Spotify. Just search B-Sides Track of the Week. Now we know a little bit about you in front of the mic. Let's talk about the person behind the mic. So I learned about the GUBA Awards show and Enterprise on my trip home to Barbados earlier this year. I traveled back to the States actually the day before you hosted the event at the British High Commission. Literally the day before. No. Yes, I did. So I was very envious watching everyone's stories, being there and just seeing everything, seeing the energy, learning more about the award show, learning more about the honorees. So for those who, like myself, who didn't get a chance to attend, can you share a little bit about the announcement, the forum, and the award show that's going to be happening in November?
Yeah, so GUBA started 16 years ago. It started off in the UK where we wanted to have a platform that was bridging Africans in a diaspora and Africans on a continent. For me, it was really important because There's a lot of us that have left the shores of the continent. Black people are everywhere. And I wanted to showcase that we can be successful anywhere we go. And also make sure that people in the diaspora are always looking back home. How are they always, that sunk of a bird that we always talk about, that's always looking back home at the opportunities, etc. And so that's how GUBA was birthed. We've done it in the UK, we've done it in the US during the UN General Assembly, we've done it in Ghana, we've done it in Rwanda, and this time we're doing it in the Caribbean, bridging that gap. And it's really important because I feel like we need to be doing more trade with the Caribbean. If you look at what's happening with all these tariffs that's being done, and we have our people that's in the Caribbean. Look at the amount of airlines that comes into the country. So if you're in Africa and you partner with somebody in the Caribbean, we need to be looking at, okay, how does the Caribbean also invest on the continent? I know we don't have direct flights. So one of the things that we actually are doing is a chartered flight from Ghana to Barbados, and it's only 8 hours instead of doing the 23, 20, 29 hours that you have to do if you're in Africa. And I think those bridges needs to be fixed so that we can just trade amongst each other. So it's a 3-day event. We have the Trade and Investment Conference. Then the government of Barbados will take us to businesses and companies that you can invest in. So you can see at firsthand the investment opportunities that's on the island. And then in the evening, we have a reception at the Prime Minister's residence. Again, just, powerful networking with people that have flown in, etc. And then on the Wednesday is the GUBA Awards.
This is not even a question on my list here, but what does it mean to have the full weight of the government of Barbados backing this? This, again, you started this in the UK.
Yeah.
And it's continued to have its branches go to the spaces where the diaspora exists. And now you have a government that's like, you know what? We want to back this.
Yeah.
We have our Prime Minister, shout out to Mia Moore-Motley, the Honorable, who is really focused on bridging that gap as well, too. So yes, please tell me, what does it mean?
It means so much because in 2021, that was when Barbados actually was like, how do we get GUBA Awards in Barbados? We love the ethos. We love everything that you're doing, the people that you're celebrating, the impact on the diaspora and bringing our diaspora back home. And so that's when the conversation started. So it was with them and Rwanda. Rwanda were just quick in the game. So the following year we were in Rwanda, and last year Barbados was like, Dentaa, have you forgotten about us? We haven't forgotten about you. So we had a conversation and they were like, we really want to host this in Barbados and, and get our diaspora there, connect with Africa. And this is the perfect platform. So the ambassador, Juliet Sunderland, has been absolutely amazing in connecting us to the local government. So this event is supported by the Prime Minister's Office, Invest Barbados, BTMI, which is Barbados Tourism and Marketing, Inc., NCF, which is the National Culture Foundation, and just everyone has been amazing when it comes to Barbados. I've been there twice now. I'm going back again in October before the event.
Yeah. Oh, lovely.
Yeah. It's been absolutely amazing, the support that we've gotten from the government. And also meeting Mia, her Honorable, Her Excellency, somebody that inspires me, inspires everyone. I just love her passion on how she really wants to bridge the gap between Africa and the Caribbean.
Man, so what are y'all thinking about the conversation? Transparently, when I found out about the GUBA Awards, and I mentioned this on the episode, I literally had just left Barbados. So first and foremost, shout out to Day for calling me and putting me on, and Amy as well too, matter of fact, for calling and putting me on, trying to get me to come to this event. But you all sparked something in me to say, look, well, if I'm not going to be able to get here and see this now, I'm going to find ways to get involved afterwards. And that's how we were able to have this conversation so that I can learn more about the incredible work that the GUBA Awards has been doing over the last 16 years. 16 years is such a long time, So let me stop rambling. We talked about so many things, including the upcoming theme for this year's GUBA Awards. Let's jump back into the interview. And the theme for this year is reclaiming our Atlantic destiny. So did you choose that first and then decide on Barbados, or did it kind of happen in reverse? And I think I know the answer.
No, so we chose Barbados first. And then when I went to Barbados, I think in April, the first time, I got to learn that that is the theme that Mia Motley, Her Excellency, is doing they're building a museum with all of the ancestors, etc. So that's the theme that they were doing. And I was like, no, let's do the same theme and just amplify it. So we just added connect, build, and renew. So connecting us together, building together, and renewing that relationship, with the continent and the Caribbean. So I feel like anybody that hears the theme is just like, yes, this is powerful. We need to reclaim our land, reclaim our people, and, start doing things together. I think it's important. When I landed in Barbados, honestly, it felt like home. It really, really felt like home. I felt like this was just an extension of Ghana. Apart from, the beaches are just amazing. The beaches are incredible. Light blue, like it's just, oh my goodness. And I just felt that the people, I felt the people. I felt like the people were Ghanaian, honestly.
Yes. Okay, so you have, again, the Trade and Investment Conference, right? Now, for someone who will just be an attendee, just in the audience, coming to get knowledge, what can they expect from the Trade and Investment Conference?
The Trade and Investment Conference is looking at different areas. So we're looking at transportation, which is important. So we're looking at the airline, we're looking at shipping, ports. So that's one area that we're looking at. We're looking at the creative economy, fashion, industries, music. How do we connect more? How do we do more music with people in Barbados? How do we, I remember when I was in Barbados, they did the steel pan, but the steel pan were playing Afrobeats. Steel pan. Oh my goodness. It was incredible. I was just like, yes, this is it. This is cross-cultural. This is what we want. And even when I went down with like our fashion, everyone was like, my goodness, how do we get some of this fashion?
Yes.
So looking at the agriculture, looking at sports and technology, innovation and technology. So these are some of the topics that we're going to be looking at. If you're someone that's in those industries, that wants to expand, that's looking for investors or looking to invest as well. And we're looking at tourism as well, because obviously Barbados is big on tourism. It's run on tourism, right? And it's a huge tourism destination. So if you wanted to set up a restaurant, an African restaurant, this is an opportunity to do that. Right?
Yes, it is.
So I feel like there's so much opportunities that is untapped that we need to look at when it comes to this bilateral relationship that we're trying to build.
Trying and do it. Yeah. So we did have some technical difficulties during this episode, so we were not able to record our rapid fire game, but we still have the rest of the episode. So let's jump back into it real quick. Before we end this episode, what's one thing you want people to know about you that they wouldn't get from your online presence, from the TED Talks that you may have had, and all that? Even, oh my goodness, you could even highlight that you just got your diplomatic passport, but I'll leave it up to you.
Yes. Yeah, so one thing I would say is that I recently just got a diplomatic passport from a government. I know, incredible. With 5 other people who I know very well and are amazing, incredible people that also fly in the flag for the continent and also the diaspora. So it was a true honor. I'm still trying to get it. I'm still letting it sink in. Yeah. But it's a testament to the work that we've been doing, really trying to share our stories, really trying to encourage our people and also letting people know that representation matters. We need to be well represented at the world stage. And that's what we've been doing. And I'm sure a lot of people know that I've got 4 children. All my children have Ghanaian names. So Nopari is the firstborn, means truth. Adansier means testimony. Eria means sunshine. and Enigie means joy. So I named all my kids Ghanaian names. And I think that's really important as well. And they're powerful names as well.
That is so beautiful. And again, a way to continue bridging the gap. I have one. And, when you have a first or second gen, like bridging that gap and letting them not just know, but be involved in their culture is so important when you live in a space like the States or the UK or wherever, it's so important.
Really important. That's why I decided to move my kids from the UK and bring them to Ghana to learn about their culture, their heritage, and where they're from so that they can love.
Developing, learning, and growing in your culture is so important for the growth of children and even adults as they struggle to identify who they are and their cultural background. So I'm so glad that she mentioned that. And I'm just so honored again to have Lady Dentaa Amoateng on Behind the Mic. This is, again, the season opener. We started off with a bang, y'all. Follow Lady Dentaa on Instagram at Dentaa, that's DENTAA_show. You also can follow the GUBA Awards at GUBA Awards on Instagram. If you are based in Ghana, they actually do have a chartered flight, a direct chartered flight from Ghana to Barbados coming to the GUBA Awards. And I also just found out today that the GUBA Awards was happening around the same time as the Food and Rum Festival, which is world revered, awarded, and all that. So, moral of the story there, y'all, come to Barbados in November. But yes, anyway, thank you all so much again for listening to this episode. I am just overly excited and overjoyed for this season. We're going to really dive into a lot of things, and I cannot wait to share it all with you. I'm your host again, Wize Grazette, at The Real Wize, that's WIZE, on Instagram and Twitter, formerly known as X. I'm internationally known on the microphone as Wiz, Wizzy, and Wize, and I will catch you on the next episode. Behind the Mic, hosted by Wize Grazette, is powered by Offscript Podcast Network. Special thanks to the Indie Creative Network and Storytime Studios for editing and producing this podcast.